Hello, it's me, Winter, in case you forgot, because it'd be like that sometimes. I know it's been a little while. I'm sorry. There's reasonings behind it, and we're going to get into it today with this video. As you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about my poetry book, where I'm at in that process, getting into like some like the little details and stuff of it, what I am like know for sure right now at least. And then later on we're going to be talking about life updates, because the stuff that's going to be coming about in the future is stuff that's going to not only affect me but also the channel as well, and it is good changes, and I thought it only fair to share it on here with you guys. So that being said, let's go. Got my coffee, got my cat, boop, 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 boop. And I got my new friend. His name's Toad. First things first, we're going to be talking about the poetry book, Notes from a Wicked Child. I can say that it's going well. Between the last time I filmed and now, it's been like 2 months. I am still chugging along. I have completely transcribed everything that was in my notebook, which was my, I guess technically first draft. I hand wrote. Put it all onto the computer and formatted it, and now I'm about halfway through the first round of edits, which I guess I'm gonna call my third draft. So this third draft includes not only going through and editing the actual poems and their content and the layout and, you know, messing with different styles, trying to get things looking how I want them to, but also I am adding illustrations, which I'm pretty sure I've talked about before, how I wanted to put in sketches and stuff, and that's coming in this draft. I knew for this book that I wanted to do all my own drawings. I wanted them to be line drawings, strictly black and white, no shading or anything like that. They, you know, I wanted them to appear as if they were rough sketches, because the whole, you know, theme around this book of poems is that the speaker, Ophelia, is sort of telling the reader her story, and as she goes through, she writes stuff down, she makes notes for the reader, she puts in little doodles and sketches. I have no idea what I was about to say just then, but sketches to try and, you know, immerse her audience as much as humanly possible. I am by no means a great artist, but I'm having a lot of fun with that, and it's different than anything I've ever tried before. So that's also added an element of work that is contributing to kind of the slow progress. So along with that, I also kind of wanted to go over the specifications of what the physical book is going to look like. This stuff is pretty set in stone. Again, there's always room to move stuff around, so I'm not like saying this is how it's gonna be, but for now, this is what I'm thinking about the physical like appearance of the book. So I wrote it down on my thing. My trim size is going to be 5.06 by 7.0. My trim size is going to be 5.06 by 7.81. For those of you who know or care, that is the smallest size that KDP Print offers as far as trim sizes go. It's also the same size as The Scum at the End of the Road, so a fairly small-ish book. However, one of the main differences is going to be the length. So as of right now, the poetry book is sitting at about 200 pages. This is including the front and back matter, which is like what, almost doubled what The Scum at the End of the Road was. However, word count wise, it's only about 6,700 words. Something that is going to be totally different than my other previous two books is that the pages are going to be white. At least that's what I'm thinking. It's not uncommon for poetry books to have white pages. Same is said for like autobiographies, I want to say. Sometimes have white pages. Nonfiction books have white pages sometimes. And I think as far as the overall look and feel that I'm going for, I want the inside to be stark black and white versus the cover of the book. In my mind right now, this is the one thing that I don't know, you know, if it's going to change, but the cover, I'm envisioning it to be very, very colorful. as sort of a stark contrast to the interior of the book. At least that's what I'm playing around with in my head. I haven't even begun to map out or work on the cover yet. I'm saving that for the end, as I typically do with my books, because for me that is like, if not the most fun part about putting together this completed project. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I'm not planning on having this book as an ebook. I think the only version of it that I want out there is going to be in physical form for various reasons. I mean, poetry is just so different than prose, and that with prose, you know, it doesn't matter what it looks like, you know, as you're reading the words, it's the story that you're focused on, and the appearance of the words and the text and whatever really has no impact, you know, depending on how it looks. And, you know, if it's up and down or if you flip through pages, like, you get the story the same way. Versus with poetry, it's really about how your eyes move across the page. It's about the flow of the text. And for me, the sketches, you know, whether or not they are on the left side or the right side, like, it just really, really matters, which is why I'm, like, really trying to dig in and spend as much time as possible fine-tuning the overall appearance of where everything is going to be. So with all of this super attention to detail that I never had to go through before, I also really wanted to sort of elevate my game on the program side that I'm using. For those of you who don't know, I have been using GIMP since high school. GIMP is basically a free version of Photoshop. You can just go, I think it's like gimp.org, download it. It's completely free. It has all the basics that you would find in Photoshop, but it is not as powerful, and some things take a lot longer to do than, you know, Photoshop. Basically, like, Photoshop, let's say, has a button to do a specific thing, whereas GIMP, you have to find like a bunch of workarounds to get the same result. And in my opinion, you know, GIMP has always served me as well as I needed it to. I mean, I did my book covers, any like cover arts or anything that I had for any of my social medias, I always did on GIMP, and I was completely and totally fine with doing that. And I really started this project figuring that I would continue to use GIMP and it would be fine. So for my sketches, I tried to go about them in a couple different ways. One of the ways was obviously just drawing on paper, scanning it in, and, you know, seeing how I would tweak it. That didn't really work for me, just because I'm not like an amazing artist. You know, I make a lot of mistakes, and I wasn't really sure when I started out what my style was going to be and how that style would translate, you know? And when you mess up on paper using a straight ink pen, you can't get rid of that stroke, you know, it's there forever. So I switched to trying to use GIMP as sort of like a drawing program, I guess. So I have had this Wacom tablet for about probably half a year to a year now. I can't remember exactly why I purchased it. Either it was on sale or, it's when I was really trying to, anytime I had like handwritten like text or something, I wanted it to be like my own handwriting versus using a font. I would basically use GIMP as, you know, to like write something out over like a thumbnail, or I don't even know what else I was using it for. But yeah, it was just something fun that I wanted to try out. Can I just say, as of right now, I'm not the kind of person who can write on a tablet while looking at the screen. I'm sure in time, with a lot of practice, I would be able to get used to it, but for me, time is kind of an issue right now. We'll see why in a second. And frankly, I just did not like how disconnected it made me feel, versus writing on something and seeing what you're writing just feels more like personal and more manageable to me. So this next method and my overall solution, we're gonna come to find out, is this bad boy. I covered the logo with a sticker, but this is a Surface Pro 6 from Microsoft Surface Windows Surface Pro 6? I think it's Windows Surface Pro 6. So this guy actually serves two purposes for me. I did not just purchase it for drawing pictures for my poetry book, don't worry. The second purpose is actually more important than this one that I'm using it for, you know, the poetry book, but we'll get to that in a couple minutes. In addition to that, I also painfully upgraded from GIMP to Photoshop. So I actually purchased a subscription to Photoshop. I get Photoshop and like Premiere Pro, which is what I'm going to be editing this on, so I have to learn how to use that, because before I was also using a free software for editing my videos. So here we are, moving up in the world, I guess. So yes, I completely, you know, converted to Photoshop, and again, just trying to figure that out. What am I doing? This thing is so magnetized, like it has magnets on every side, and it's like a lot, but I absolutely love this guy. Great purchase, and it's doing exactly what I needed to. But yeah, I'm really, really happy with the results that I'm getting so far with the poetry book, and just, you know, all the other amounts of work that I'm having to do now. So to wrap up the poetry book portion, I'm chugging along. I really, really, really want to get it done by the end of this year. So I'm hoping to release Notes from a Wicked Child in January of 2020. And now moving on to the life update portion of this video. Heavy stuff, but like good stuff. First of all, I know everyone is just dying to know how Rose is doing, and he is doing awesome. He is super chunky, and he's super like sassy. I don't know, like sometimes I'll come up to the glass and he'll just like flare up at me, and I'm like, dude, calm down, and I put my finger up and he like swims away because he's like terrified of fingers. Alright, so circling back to the second and more important reason why I needed a proper laptop is because I have decided to go back to school. I know, I'm old. I work in like an area with a lot of college students, and they look like little babies. Like the freshmen coming in, I'm like, dude, you're like 12. It's crazy to me, and I am 24, and I'm about to be the equivalent of like a junior, I think, because I did get my associates in 2016, and now I am transferring to a 4-year school. Most of my gen eds are out of the way. I have a couple more classes to take, which, if we want to, you know, pause right now, I am currently taking an online class, which is another reason why things have been slow going, because I still do work full-time and I have a part-time job, and now I'm taking one online class. I plan to transfer to my 4-year school for the spring 2020 semester, which starts in, oh shoot, does it start in? No, it starts in January. Yeah, it starts, like, what? The second week in January, I think? So, yeah. Another reason why I really want to get this poetry book done before then, so I don't have to battle schoolwork, like a full course load, with this guy. I really, you know, want to wrap up the year on, like, a good note. But yeah, coming back to the whole laptop situation. You need a laptop for school, like a proper one. You know, I have a desktop which is adequate, but it's not portable, and the only other portable computer I have is my baby laptop, which again runs on Chrome and is just so unpredictable that I'm not trying to take that chance. So yeah, that's pretty much like the major news here, and how things are gonna change a little bit next year. I will still be living at home. I'm gonna be commuting for the first semester at least. I am definitely not giving up on this channel or writing, because I know that writing gets me through this kind of stuff, you know, like school and stress and, you know, work. Like, I don't plan on stopping that for anything. And I'm also just really, really excited to be starting this next chapter of my life, and am so thankful that you guys are so supportive and nice, and thank you. I'm also really excited for anybody who's interested in poetry to read my poetry book, just because I think it's gonna be a little bit different and the most personal thing I think I've ever put out into the world. So that makes me a little bit nervous, but at the same time I can just play it off and be like, oh no, that's the speaker, that's not me. So yeah, with that being said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. The links to all my stuff, my books and blog and everything will be down below. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I will see you guys soon.